Hey there YouTube, Petey Two Finger coming at you with today we have another the Gunz Blazin Mech mod from Smokin' Mist. You get it? Gunz Blazin? Yeah, I picked this thing up. It's like a cheesy circa 1980s sound effect machine that you can connect to a phone system. So you could call up your boss on a Monday morning and got a bad case of the cows, I can't make it in, or that's going to come in handy for some of these juice reviews. So special thanks to George Spielberg for lending me. This is actually the light pistol that Yoga used on the Hothkova system. So big fan of the Dark Wars. Today with the Gunz Blazin Mech mod, brought to you by Smokin' Mist out of Tempe, Arizona. Special thanks to Aaron for supplying me the Gunz Blazin Mech mod, and I've got a Lancia RDA dripping atomizer to pair with this. It's going to be a separate review for the Lancia. In the past I wasn't so hot on dripping atomizers. Well, that's because I had the wrong setup. This stuff, I'm telling you, the Lancia with this Gunz Blazin it's working good. Now, right off the bat, the Gunz Blazin is a 26-650 style mech mod, and that just means the battery. So let's take a look comparing. Here is the battery itself, and I just wanted to show you, this would be a 18-650, like the normal battery, like this one here, goes into this, okay? So you can see there's quite a bit. You know, the 18 in 18-650 stands for the diameter. It's 18 millimeter. So the 26-650 is 26 millimeters. And that goes to the capacity, like how many times you can use the device before it needs a recharge. And I'll tell you, this 26-650 it's a beast. Okay, I promise I'll lay off the... Now, I think it's 3,500 milliamp hour battery. I've been vaping off this for about a week, and I haven't felt the need to recharge it. When I first put a fresh charge in this battery and put it together, it was it was hitting so hard I could only hold the button down for about a second and a half before it was like all I could take. I mean, this thing hits like a freight train. Now, first, right off the bat, I noticed the unit shipped clean. A lot of times these things will be covered in machine oil, and the threads installing it, I'm like, man, they're coarse threads. I don't know if you could be able to see this, but they're all of the machining, everything about the craftsmanship on the Gunz Blazin just screams quality. The original unit, this is a clone. Now, the original unit would set you back between $2 and $2.25. It's an expensive piece. The Gunz Blazin mod, brought to you by Smokin' Mist, available for $37.98. I put a link in the description if you'd like to give a click and see what's going on over at Smokin' Mist.
I would appreciate that.
Getting back to the features, it is a locking mech mod. So on the bottom, if we were going to lock this device, you just spin that down, and then the fire button is locked. It will not depress. So spin that back, and there we got firing again. So to take a look, I wanted to show you, disassemble this real quick. Here we have a little rubber seal, the firing pin. So I'm going to go ahead and unscrew this, carefully remove the spring. I have no desire to mess with that spring. It's hefty, it's beefy, it's doing its job. I had another mech mod that I purchased, and I read a lot of folks were like, that spring wears out right away. It'll fire on itself. If you know, this spring, I wouldn't say that it's tight. Like, I can vape it with one finger. The way I find this ergonomically working in my hand, I hold it, grab it like that, and then I wrap my ring finger underneath and fire it off. I have no problem. It's a stiffish spring. I don't want to say stiff like, oh my goodness, but it's certainly there and it's doing its job. Now the top pin on the top side, it is copper connections, And this is adjustable. You can thread that down. So if you found a battery rattle, different style batteries might be off by a millimeter or so. So you can just go ahead and compensate for that. Every mod, every atomizer that I attached to this mod has fired. There were no connection issues whatsoever. It is a heavy duty piece. I'll tell you, if you wanted something small, if you were a dainty lass on the go, leaping around, dancing, celebrating the rite of spring with your ballet troupe, the Gunz Blazin might not be the mod for you. But if you were like, you know, worked in an auto shop, let's say you're in construction, certainly Gunz Blazin would, you know, find a good home in your toolbox, because this thing is like, it is built like a beast. It's a big mod, it's a hefty mod, and it's sturdy. Now, it is manufactured from surgical grade aircraft 304 stainless steel, which is good stuff. Ultra low voltage drop. I did a little bit of snooping around online, and folks were saying anywhere between 0.06 and 0.01 volt voltage drop. Anytime you have this design where it's just like a battery and then the switch just makes contact to fire off the atomizer, anywhere that there is threading, where the stuff threads together, you experience a little bit of a voltage drop with these mechanical mods. And the way this has been designed, I mean, I heard typically stainless steel mods weren't really that good. They had a big voltage drop. With the copper pins on this device, minimal voltage drop. Absolutely, you know, like nothing. 0.01 is nothing, trust me. And I'll tell you, when I first put the fully charged 26650 battery in here and I couldn't vape it, I could hit it for about a second. I was like, whoa. that was the testament to low voltage drop, trust me. Unique styling. Fits perfectly comfortably in your hand. It's like got these big, like 2-3 millimeter knurls all the way around, and then it's cut flat on the sides, which initially when I grabbed it, it was like, wow, that almost feels sharp. Now, I don't know if it broke in a little bit, if it's like worn down, or if I've just gotten used to it, but it certainly, I can't imagine dropping this. I have dropped my Chi-Yu because it's just perfectly smooth. You get a little bit of e-liquid on your hand, you get a little bit of sweat going, and I've dropped it a few times. This thing, practically drop proof, but it's also very comfortable in the way it feels in my hand. And it's got this knurling on the locking ring. I wanted to point that out. Sometimes you'll need to get a tool, you'll need to like get a pliers, because you know it'll get hung up, the locking ring will get too tight. Well, with the knurling on here, you could just grab it with your hand, and that's like a really nice feature, because you hate to have to go grab a tool when you're doing this stuff. Not having to use a tool, believe me, it's a huge plus. The machining, everything about this just screams quality. Super smooth, buttery threads, and they're coarse threads. Stiff spring, no misfires, comfortable, practically drop proof. Now it's a 30 millimeter diameter device. So like with this, the Chi-Yu, I built a little stand for it. And it's like, you know, put it in the stand and it's not going to knock itself over. With this being 30 millimeters wide, I don't have to worry about making a stand. But then again, like I was saying, if you were really on the go, this might not be a wise choice, because it is pretty big and it is pretty heavy, loaded up with the battery and an atomizer. Utilizing the 26650 battery is kind of a safe choice. If you end up with a high amperage, like a 30, you know, so then, you know, the 26650 is interesting because it just holds more voltage. And if you end up purchasing, you know, I would really twist your arm to get the highest rated amperage battery, wattage battery that you can afford. Just lends to a safer vape. There is a half a dozen air vents on the unit in case of venting. It comes with this aluminum sleeve, so if you don't have a 26650, you're waiting for that to come, go ahead and pop your 18650 in this sleeve and put that unit inside and you're good to go. And this here, the sleeve, has a big massive honking vent hole in it for safety as well. This is an incredible value at 38 bucks versus like $2.25 for an original. This is a really nice unit. I like the idea of 26650, It's a unique size. It's a big device, but it's not that tall. You know, the only thing I would say is some people really don't like this, how we have a 22 millimeter atomizer and then a 30 millimeter battery. That would be a deal breaker for some folks. Well, they do have 30 millimeter, 28, 29 millimeter atomizers, dripping atomizers, and tanks. You can get a tank that'll hold 10 mils, 20 mil. I think there's even a 30 mil tank you could get and put on this. So how long would that take you before you vape 30 mils? Well, it would be a while. So there are definitely options for different tanks if you wanted it to be flush. And just for demonstrational purposes, to show you exactly what I mean, this here is what I mean, where the atomizer is the same diameter as the battery tube. So that, some folks find that much more appealing to the eye than something like this. Personally, for me, it isn't an issue. This is the Lancia dripping atomizer. I am going to be doing a review for that shortly. Pairs extremely well with the hard hitting. This thing hits like a truck. The Gunz Blazin Mech mod, stainless steel, 26/650, manufactured to incredibly high quality standard. The engineering behind this design, you know, hats off. It's a brilliant design. It's ergonomic. It feels good in your hand. I would say the only downside would be it is a little bit hefty. It's a little bit big and perhaps a little bit more weighty, you know, ultimately than this. So if you're concerned about something like that, this might not be the wisest choice for you. But like I said, it's a trade-off. You know, you got a 3500 mAh mechanical mod. I mean, it's gonna last you a while. So special thanks to Aaron for sending this unit for me to review. Special thanks for you guys for tuning in as usual. I'm gonna be doing a review for this Lancia shortly. Also, I got another Smoking Miss juice review. So thanks so much for the support. I appreciate any subs, likes, shares, and comments. Go ahead and give a click over to Smoking Miss, see what they've got going on over there. And if you're into mechanical mods, check this out. This is really a great